Well, good afternoon, everybody. Greg.
Hello, Elton.
Elton. Hey, Shop Soup, a different version of Shop Soup. And we are going to try and do some experimenting things here. Elton, being the experimental person that he is.
Guinea pig.
Yeah. So we're here just recording, and we're going to do a couple of things. But more importantly, one of the things that was a goal of mine for Shop Soup was really to introduce and kind of open up my client base to our regular clients who have something special that they do in what would you say, outside of normal work parameters, kind of like hobbies, or they started.
How's your real life?
Right, how's your real life? You know, that's a good title. I like that. How's your real life? So,
well, my diet book is going to be a waste is a terrible thing to mind.
Exactly. As you can see, it's going to be difficult to get through, but we promise that we want to talk about your books and your picture books, actually. And Elton has over the years got into more photography. I know there's a lot of photographers out there, and Elton has really put together these great books. I would say coffee table books.
Well, they could be if they were larger size. But, yeah, I have been interested in photography since I was a youngin'. My first camera was a Brownie Hawkeye. I don't know if you're old enough to remember those.
Brownie was the name of my first dog.
They were a little square box, and
right.
They had the rolls of film that were maybe 620, they called them, instead of 35 millimeter,
okay.
But they were like 2 inches long, and it was an ordeal.
Wow.
Took forever to get them back. I love digital photography.
Yeah.
You have instant gratification. As I'm looking at this, I am a very visual person, see, because here's my biggest fan, but here's my next biggest fan right behind me here.
What's behind me? Oh, the big fan, I see. Okay, all right. For those of you that aren't witnessing this, you're listening to it, you're going, what the hell? No. But
I try to get him pun toxic in 5 minutes.
Yeah. It works. But look, show the three areas that you have. You have Bombay one.
Once I retired, I had opportunity to do a couple of things, and that is spend more time with a camera, wandering around, and I love digital photography. Even though things have changed, my first digital camera was a whole 3 megapixels.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now they're so much more than that. They're 10 times that or more. So my motivation for taking some of my photographs and turning them into books, I was telling Greg that someone was looking at my photographs on my laptop, and her comment was, "Gee, some of these are just like art."
See, there you go.
So I thought, maybe I will do something artful.
Yeah.
But in retirement, I've been a guide at a property called Hagley Museum and Library, which is the traditional and very first home of the DuPont family here in the state of Delaware. And I have been a tour guide there. But what that does for me is give me very special access to areas of that property and the time to go there with a camera anywhere I want when I'm off duty. One of my fellow guides introduced me to a group as, "Hi, this is Elton. He's a photographer. Oh, by the way, he's a guide here too." So someone asked me if I would create a book that reflects the interesting history of the Hagley Museum and Library, because it is the history of the DuPont company as well as the history of that DuPont family, and everyone's always surprised how integrated in early American post-colonial history these men had influence.
Yeah, very much so.
Their product was gunpowder, so I'll try not to be too punny about that. It is an explosive topic after all. Anyway.
Too much.
our Hagley Museum has a lovely bookstore, and instead of individual pictures, someone asked me if I can put some together, and I decided to use some of the black and white pictures that I had taken.
Yeah, show them.
And maybe you want to be the
There
one
we go.
to
Yeah.
hold that a little closer.
Okay, so this is the opening. This is the opening gates of Hagley.
Yeah, this is the gates in the front, and
Right.
the book is entitled Hagley in Black and White, so that's the front gate. And it leads you to a wonderful adventure through the DuPont factories.
Some of the property, the black and white really brings out. I thought that it's classic. It doesn't.
One of the great features of Hagley is that wonderful blue stone.
Yeah.
Everything is made out of that for a couple of reasons. One, it's misnamed blue granite, but it's really a different geologic period, and it's called gneiss, Gneiss. Well, these men, besides being geniuses, were very
Right.
lucky. They, the Hagley property, the houses, museum and factories are built on a great big dome of that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want to build a factory, about if you had a site where you
Full
could
of
just,
stone. Right.
it's a big mound of
Yeah,
it, says
it's a
the
big mound of
geologist,
it,
so
right.
you can just quarry it right under your feet. You have the
Exactly.
building material for a factory.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I thought it was one of the reasons why the DuPont family chose Delaware
Yes.
for its
Yep.
gunpowder.
Well, they were friends of Thomas Jefferson. Part of the original thinking was they were going to join him in Virginia.
Right.
But the Brandywine River is the key to it all. It drops from Pennsylvania through Wilmington and connects with the Delaware River about 124 feet in the last 5 miles. So you can imagine how gravity is driving that water with some force.
It's
enough to
interesting. I
drive
didn't even know
wheels.
124 feet near the connector to the Delaware River.
No, 124 feet in elevation.
Oh, in elevation.
It
Right.
drops
Okay. Yeah.
in
Yes.
elevation.
Yes. Okay. Now. Right.
That much
True.
in a 5 mile space.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
really, gravity helps that water.
Correct. Yes, it does. Yeah.
It's not a navigable river at all, and probably would have no claim to fame if people hadn't started putting.
It was a
flour
good
mills
swimming
there.
hole.
Yes. We know where you spent your youth.
Yes.
Right?
And for locals, Sandy Beach. It was called Sandy Beach, which is on the other side of Hagley, the mill itself. But that was an area where there was a slight water. There was a waterfall, and you actually could swim in the pool area where the water came down. It was not much force, but you could go under the falls and hang out and. Well, you could just hang out. You can do whatever you want, but
Misbehave like regular
misbehave
teenagers.
like regular teenagers. Correct,
Okay,
but
good
yeah,
move.
yeah. So, it's
So
a
I love
fascinating
being
area.
there because it is a very special place on the planet, and it's not expensive. It's here with Winterthur and Longwood and Nemours, which are other locations where DuPont families located their houses and gardens, and it's just a nice place to be.
Most people in the region understand not only the influence, but the amount of property and land that the DuPont family have owned, and they still continue to own it, and now it's in controls of trusts and stuff. Probably, I would say, indefinitely. I mean, non-developed, undevelopable. Yeah, the county, the state will not relinquish these properties for any development purposes whatsoever. But you got Longwood Gardens, if you're familiar with Longwood Gardens, or if you're out of state, if you're not local, look it up. Look at Longwood, look at Winterthur, Hagley. All of these are more of I take them as places of education now. We're really tourists, but
Yes.
there's a lot of history that from Revolution times and prior, right? And
No, 1802 is when
1802,
they arrived here,
okay.
and that's when they built that
so
first
it's the industrial
house here.
age, really.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Hagley Library is a world-renowned library. It's not a lending library, it's a research library. And people come from all over the world if that's their focus for research, is the period called the Industrial Revolution. Because it houses records, artifacts, photographs, And more recently, we've acquired thousands of patent models, and it's all based on that focus
Right.
of American history called the Industrial Revolution. And if people are completing research on that, they come to this library.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, well, we talked about Hagley
Yep.
and some of the history behind it and all that, but you've got now another refuge, another area in Delaware, from Delaware, that's a refuge, and some of the most awesome
Yeah.
scenic type of.
Well, it's
Photograph.
not open now. Somebody
No,
shut it down.
Yeah.
But it's called Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge. And for me, not just because it's close, it's in Smyrna, Delaware, which is roughly an hour to an hour and a half from here in Wilmington. But you can drive through the trails, most of them, and you can see wildlife of all sorts. And I was just saying to someone in your front office there, people need to learn an etiquette about it.
Yes.
If you drive through, stay in your car, animals walk up to you and you can take lovely pictures close up.
Right, which you have. So let me see the book. Show the book
Sure.
here.
But what a lot of people do is the first thing they do is see something, a bird, and then
Right.
they jump out of the car, and
Yeah.
what does it do? Flies away.
It flies
You don't
away.
get a
You
picture.
don't get a picture. Right. So this is some of the wildlife that runs through the refuge.
Yep,
We'll
there
try
are.
and.
Yep, go ahead, please.
Okay. Now, what type of turtle is it? It's a
Ooh, that's a gigantic snapping turtle.
snapping turtle. There you go.
That particular one was on a little island all its own, and it was horrifying to my wife. She said, like the Cheshire cat, it winked at me.
It winks.
But the shell alone was about 3 feet long.
Oh, my
Head
goodness,
and tail
wow.
were longer than that. It's a very
Big old
old.
snapper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crusty old thing.
Here it is.
Now, I'm really curious.
Okay.
I always had thought that might have been an oriole, but it's not an
No,
oriole.
red-winged blackbird.
Red-winged black. Pretty simple, huh?
Yep.
Red-winged.
Oh, that sort of looks like
Yeah,
that. doesn't
it does. It kind of fits. Oh, well. I think I need
So-
to visit Bombay all over again.
So picky.
Yeah. Now, see, some people say when I talk about Bombay, they're going Bombay gin, right?
That's it.
And here we have. What
That's
do
a
we have?
rail.
A rail. Okay. All right.
Well
And-
hidden. Someone else in my party at the time
Spotted
it.
Okay. And over here?
That is, I'll get there. Blue grosbeak.
Okay.
Some people think, look at it and say, oh, bluebird, no, it's not. Or indigo bunting, no, it's not. But it's a blue grosbeak.
Okay.
And in the
So you really had to
springtime-
learn not only how to photograph, you've had to learn the
Ornithology.
the subject matter itself, right?
What are them birds called?
You're right. They just don't look pretty, but so. But this is Bombay Hook. This is number one, and then you have Bombay number 2.
Yeah, it's on the Eastern Flyway for migrating birds, and one of its renowned residents is the snow goose.
Okay, here we go.
And you can see from the picture that sometimes they are so numerous that they look like they are falling snow.
Yeah.
And if they're on the ground in a farmer's field, it looks like it's covered with snow until you say, hey, that snow is moving.
Yeah. I could say some things, moving, but we'll keep that. We'll keep that to ourselves.
But I laugh at Elton's folly.
Yeah.
I read in the newspaper one time that there were tundra geese down there, so I hurried down with the camera.
Right.
And I pulled up on the roadside, and I sat for about 20 minutes waiting, because I thought, oh, these have to be the tundra geese, because they're pretty big. They're bigger than other geese,
Right.
these things in the field. Well, they never moved. They were decoys. Oops.
Yeah, right.
I think I'll go look at something else. Live and learn.
Exactly. So we have an otter here,
I was
right?
very surprised and very lucky to see that. I saw in one of the pools in the back of the refuge, the water was just churning from underneath. And I thought,
Right.
my, those must be big fish. And I assumed they were going to show up as big carp. And then a pair of otters started sticking their heads up and looking at me and
And you actually caught him
saying,
in that sense,
yes,
yeah.
I'll pose for you. And I took
Right.
the picture.
Now on the other side?
Oh, on the other side, That's an immature black-crowned heron.
Okay.
And you can see that it doesn't have the adult feathers,
Right.
but it wants to
Right.
hide in the bushes too.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So overall, like, how did you get to the photography bug?
Oh, like I said, I had a brownie Hawkeye when I was maybe
Yeah.
8 years old. And I did, well, in high school and college years, I had other activities going.
Right.
But after that, well, maybe at the end of a graduate school program, I bought a SLR camera, a 35 millimeter film camera, and I loved working with that, but I hated the delay.
Yeah.
Right? Take your film in, pay somebody to give it back to you in a week, and there was no instant editing like you can do now, because if you took a bad picture, that's what came back to you, off the
Right,
negative.
right.
And when it's wildlife, you don't have a chance to retake it after a week.
Right,
So
right.
what I love about digital is you can take a series of pictures and hope that at least one of the ones that you took in that series is going to be a winner, good if not great. Slight aside, my brother lives in the Philadelphia suburb, and a neighbor of his is now retired photographer for Sports Illustrated.
Right.
And he reminded us when we would talk to him that when he was shooting film, he was glad to get one good shot, one publishable shot out of any roll of film. And like 24 or 36,
So
digital
the
changed all that.
digital process, now gives you as many opportunities with no expense. Well, limited expense in a sense. You gotta buy the hardware, which is the camera and stuff.
The negative side of that is now the way cameras are built, their phones are built. They're really handheld computers
Yeah.
with a phone and camera element in them. And every phone now has many more megapixels than my first camera ever had.
Yeah.
So I like to sadly say that any 13-year-old with a cell phone can take magic pictures if they just hold the camera still and get the right
And get
subject.
it right, exactly. So there's
There
more,
are lots
more out there.
of photographers now who are not bothering to publish their work. They keep it on SD cards, and
Okay.
if somebody wants a print of it, Egon in
Yeah.
Ghostbusters says print is dead, and
Right.
that was what 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people keep it in a digital form and never do bother to print it, so that's
that.
kind of an interesting thing about
Yeah,
books.
yeah. I mean, they're beautiful, and I think they need to be out, even offline, because I would never have seen this. I know my brother-in-law is a wonderful photographer up in the Boston, Massachusetts area. And Mike, if you're listening, I've always told you, get your product online or get it out there.
Yeah.
And he does the same thing. He'll take lighthouses and beach scenes and,
Yeah.
New England falls,
Yes,
that kind of things. But it's amazing that you have an eye to capture that kind of quality photograph or that moment. And I'm sure a lot of other people, a lot of photographers, both professional and amateur, look for that one special thing. It's like, it's like in golf, it's the comeback shot. Hey, they could be the last shot of the round, but it was a beauty.
That's
and
it.
that's going to go, well, I can't wait to get back on the links. Everything else, you might score 200, and
But
the
it's-
handicap's 100.
It's an
but
addiction, not a
it's
game. right?
Exactly. So, it's great, but
Well, there's good news and bad news about that. The good news is that taking pictures is more ubiquitous, and it's easier to do, and people can take more pictures. But things like people putting your brother-in-law, don't tell him to put it on a website, because they'll get pirated just as fast as he puts them out there.
well, yeah.
Sometimes even if you watermark them,
Right.
people will take them anywhere, and then they recrop it. And,
Correct.
So you lose.
Well, to get into the nitty gritty on that, I know that like a site called like iPhoto, which is owned by Getty,
Yes.
and they'll allow you to upload, and from my understanding, they'll pay you if they'll share the revenue. So that is a viable outlet, I would suppose. I mean, it's it's probably pennies, but at least it's something for the work.
They get their cut first, Getty does.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Believe me, I've given them quite a bit. Because most of the photography or the pictures that we use in our marketing material, we pay for. We the rights to the artist or the photographer has to be granted, and we believe in that. So it's out of respect, but this has been great. This is some of the things that here at Buckley's. My goal was to get involved with more than just the car, to get involved with the client and our customers, and showcase them and what they do. And we have a bunch of really great clients with all kinds of neat things that they do. Some we will talk about and some we won't, right? But
and some we'll talk about. Greg did not ask me. This is totally unsolicited. So it's been at least 25 years that I've been bringing various cars here. I do not trust anybody else. The quality of the work, the quality of the people is beyond awesome. So my wife and I both bring our cars here, and we are satisfied every time, and we're still on the road. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely unsolicited. I'm more interested in hearing what you do and what Kristen does, and both of you are very busy. You do a lot. You're around. It's always a pleasure when you guys stop in.
Not always.
Well, we're always guaranteed a good joke.
Yeah,
let's put it that way. So, but I want to thank you again. Thanks for stopping in.
Okay. Well, thank you for
now, one thing
your
is
interest.
If you want to get a hold of Elton, I'm going to try to put this up to the camera, and let's see if we can get it here. Might not. Okay. It's called Scrambled Egg Pics. Special photos of special times. Elton G. Grunden. Scrambled Egg Pics at gmail.com. Phone number 302-478-0103. Now, why did you call it Scrambled Egg?
Well, if you're really watching, it is Elton G. Grunden, so
Right.
the monogram is EGG.
EGG.
What kind of egg runs around punning persistently, and that's a scrambled
And that's
egg.
a scrambled egg. So, excellent. Very good. Well, Elton, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Look forward to seeing you guys more I suppose. Good times, of course. And talk about your photography. Anything next? What's up next? What kind of books next? Yeah.
Oh,
What's your interest?
My mother-in-law is 88, and she's moved to a retirement community, and she said to her daughter, my wife, one time, she really misses her bird feeders. Misses seeing birds there.
Oh.
So I took the time to create a book for her of common birds at bird feeders, and she was just overjoyed at
that's great.
seeing cardinals and robins and things that were commonplace in her home, but she doesn't get to see when she's
Oh,
living
that's
now.
really interesting. I would never have a take on that, but you actually gave her what do you call it? What's the animals that they calm you down?
Oh, yes, sure. Okay.
I know. I'm trying to think of myself. I want to say like guardian animal, but guardian
Yeah,
guard
I
dogs
can't either.
or comfort dogs,
Yes.
comfort animals.
Right.
Okay, you get a comfort book.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's very nice. Very nice. Interesting. So, okay, we're going to sign off here. We thank you very much, everybody online and offline. The podcast will be up shortly. Go to buckleysAutoCare.com. You can go to our Facebook page at Buckley's AutoCare, and we'll have links available to you shortly. But, this is Shop Soup version 2. Greg Buckley signing off till next time, along with my good friend and good client, Elton. See ya.
Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.